Favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you.
Is Karen, who's the recorder?
Karen is.
Hang on a second.
If you were going to ask for something, I was going to.
No.
We can tell her when she arrives. You have a new agenda. Are there any additional agenda items?
I would like to discuss the contract with the city of Port Townsend and where it's at.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, and I have no old business. So we'll move on to a new business, which is our reports. And we'll begin with the general fund. And John, I had a general fund up there, since it was a little confusing last time. And we are at 9.1% versus 9.4 last year and 10.1 the year before.
Are you looking at the updated one, Judy?
I am.
Should be 8.9% then.
Here, Dave, everyone's got mine.
Here you go. That's a set, but I can just turn it out.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. 8.9, you're right. And some of the same culprits that were plaguing us last year are in play again this year. That is private harvest, investment income, DNR, and of course, sales tax. And we were hoping that we would see a shift this year, which would be a precursor to a better year, but so far, the 2 months of revenue is not bearing that out. Does anyone have anything to add for their department, in the general fund?
Well, I track in our department, what's saving us is passports. We took that function on, and so we're at February 6.86 compared to last year 6.47 and 7.61. So we just keep tracking and seeing what's going on.
This one also didn't happen until March, but we received the last two sheriff's payments for jail from the city. So we just need a contract number 2010.
That's not reflected in this 204,000 from the sheriff?
No, it's gonna be in March.
Is that 204,000 from the sheriff, does that have to do with anything with the co and that contract, did they get it already?
I don't know that.
Oh, because that's way up compared to
I
previous
think
years.
that's what happened with us, the whole branch.
And just a minor note, there's about a $13,000 discrepancy and probably would go, I can point it out to you and
Okay.
probably stick it in the sentence.
Okay. You want to tell me that now or later?
I'll do it later.
Okay, all right. All right, moving to other funds.
Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
Overall, before we read the general fund, so we're about 45,000 behind last year at this point in time total. 1,336,000 versus 1,380,000. Is that right, Judy?
Well, you compare,
1,336,000 versus 1,380,000.
yes,
So we're 45,000 behind, and we've anticipated revenues of approximately 400,000 more. So would it be safe to say that for the general fund at least, that we're in worse shape after 2 months this year than we were after 2 months last year? I'd like to see somebody dispute that. And after, what, 3 or 4 months last year, we had to make some substantial reductions to bail us out for the rest of the year. So unless March turns around, then we could likely find ourselves in a in the same position or worse than we were last year, right?
That's true.
All right.
Philip?
Yeah. No, I think we are at a point where we need to be looking at the numbers very carefully. I think I mentioned to a couple of you that while I was in Hawaii, before we even had received the February numbers, that I sort of had an anxiety attack.
Well, I think this is the place that we discussed this, so.
Yeah, so what I am doing at this point is working on some analysis and projections for the year. We're not ready for prime time yet, but have been working on it. We'll also be starting to do some thinking of some what ifs. So, we're about 2 weeks away from getting the March numbers. And so I think, correctly, our sensitivity is raised at this point. I think we need to be prepared to look at those numbers, and I am getting prepared to look at those numbers very quickly once they come in, so that we can, if necessary, respond quickly.
I have a bit of good news
Yeah.
that I shared with you. Extraordinary law and justice expenses for the trial passed the Senate. We asked for $197,000. The Senate approved it for our county. So we're waiting for the House to vote on that.
Is that gonna be enough to cover the trial?
It's part of it, but it's $197,000 more than we thought it was going to
Right.
So is that, Julie, is that based on the fact that between the 2 or 3 of your departments that you spent, as of a certain date,
be. This
$197,000?
is defense costs.
Defense costs only? No overtime or any other
Well,
stuff for
Frank,
the sheriff's
is
department?
it any of them?
Yeah, I thought that our time was included because we had
Okay.
150,000 from the sheriff's office alone.
Okay.
So is that through December 31st of '09? Is that the
When,
date they
Philip, do you
should-
remember the date we submitted the expenses?
It was December,
It was
it was
December.
December.
So-
It was for 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Another session at the end of this year to put in for 2009.
So it'll be next year, this time we'll put it.
So
So
we-
it's
Well,
past
at
the
the end of the
Senate,
Yeah.
and it's part of the Senate's budget then, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the House is, how attuned is House Majority Leader Kessler to our plight?
Pretty attuned.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then you think that the odds are that in the reconciliation,
Well, it's gonna depend on the rest of the budget. I mean, she's
Yeah.
kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Do you have a bill number?
no, it's not a bill, it's not a supplemental budget.
Yes, oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I just thought I'd give you a little hope.
are you guys planning on a quick letter off to Kevin and then in regards to this particular issue? Philip, you've been working on that?
Turnaround time is much too short for a letter.
Email?
Email or phone calls,
Yeah,
probably.
they're well
During
aware.
session, you're talking about phone calls or email.
Yeah, they're well aware of that.
Karen Denarski, would that be considered a refund of expenditure previous year versus revenue for 2010?
Probably.
Money
and
comes
that's
in.
what it was.
But cash was
Cash, I mean.
But it's still a refund of expenditure previous year.
Yeah, okay.
It wouldn't show as revenue.
Right, we always like.
It would, but it
That
would
still goes to the
improve,
bottom line.
it would improve our cash,
Yes,
but,
Position.
yes, okay.
by $197,000.
Yeah. Would be
So-
happy with
A
that.
lot of money.
So given Julie's good news,
Well,
is there,
hope of goodness.
right,
Yeah.
thank you. Is there anything else in the legislature that anybody's aware of that potentially is an assistance to revenues? Remember, David, when we were up in, the Courthouse Community Center, one of the things that you said that sort of stopped me in my tracks because it was like, yeah, wow, I didn't do that, is that we were gonna have to